Hello everybody and welcome to week 6 of Raz's recaps as we recap the top 3 series of the previous week. Now, we've already gone past the halfway point and I want to start with a series that felt like a match of the week. It was Invictus Gaming versus Suning in day 1. That's right, we start with Suning versus IG. And in this one, you get to see SMLZ coming in. He's been hitting up that Ezreal pick. They've been on their 4-series losing streak. Wanted to be able to upset that going up against Invictus Gaming. Now, we're not going to be going to game 1. Game 1 would feel a little bit embarrassing. Maple and Hacker didn't have a good time. This was going to be up to Suning to be able to bring this one right back. Angel had a real good early game, being able to get the early, first bloods and all that. And this one was a slow one. They end up finding the pick onto Rookie. Now this was looking good for them to start out, but he buys a lot of time. You can see that SMLZ's positioning here was already threatened by the Aurelia, and from this point forward, actually, they were just scattered. You can tell the communication didn't really look too good for this squad, and so at that point, you already see even Lee Sin getting a pick onto the Ezreal, kicks him into the face. It was hard for Suning. The game pace is way too fast. It felt like game 1 a little bit, because even though in game 2 they looked like they were finding their standing in team fights, they couldn't match up to the Shy coming in strong for this team. That would be a quick 2-0 for IG. Shock and awe. For our second series, we head over to Beijing when it's going to be EDG making that trip over to JDG. Now, this one's going to be a big one because EDG's been picking up victories. Even in the loss versus RNG, they were looking good, so they're going to sit right tight in Beijing and make it right, get that victory for themselves. Now, JDG, with some struggling in the bottom side of the map, they've been doubling down in that top lane. They've been being able to get Zoom ahead consistently and having Flawless behind him at all times. But this series was a little bit different. At this point, EDG were already ahead in the series, 1 game, and they had a goal lead because Scout was on point. And if we're just talking about the laners, take a look at iBoy. Even though iBoy ends up falling here to a deep dive because flanked from Vladimir, he put down a decent amount of damage. And you're starting to see the characters of LeBlanc starting to come through, Aatrox on a massive flank. And at this point in time, I was already alluding to the fact that Zoom was falling behind in lane. Aatrox was a beast up until this point. And so, as good of a fight that was from behind that JDG were picking, they already came in at a flank and the members were coming through, so EDG would pick up this fight with the greatest of ease. Then we start fast forwarding. Baron gets picked up by JDG, so they still have a shot, right? Nah. Even with the aftermath of the fight, you see the members being killed off in that one. Aatrox still looks for a dive on towards Rise. Stopwatches himself, so he keeps himself alive for a little bit longer. Aatrox still had his Guardian Angels, still had his ultimate pop, and take a look at this, boom. Scout comes right in and helps him out while he's just trying to figure out if he has any shot at that play. So EDG, even when they were going back and forth and behind, will end up taking this victory. You can already see it, 13 kills for the man in the top lane, 3 solo kills throughout the week. So EDG, a lot of praises to Ray. He's gonna be your MVP for that match. And for the third series, you better believe it, match of the week alert, Doomb versus Rookie. Like, that's crazy to be able to see those two go up against each other. And if we're just talking about it, really, Invictus Gaming across the board, matchup to matchup, they look real well. Now, it goes back and forth. Game 1, IG picks it up. Game 2, FPX snowballs it really early based off of Tien. And yeah, we're talking about Tien because the team fights were looking great from FPX. IG had a few kicks in their sleeve. I think the Lee Sin play coming in from Ning was looking good to start. But it was rough just because Tien and Doomb looking for the consistent dives. Gimgoon was behind this game. This is what you didn't know. Early game, it was rough for him. But they were able to back him up, support him early on in the laning phase to give them that confidence and backing. So please watch this series if you haven't already, because then you get to see Doomb going off. Just popping off, having a good time, man. Doomb, even after this series, when had Hot Pot, he was streaming at the same time he was over the world. They still remain undefeated. FPX charging into week 7 confident. And just as we wrap up the show, you know what time it is. We gotta deliver man of the week. And just based off of the last series, you saw match of the week going Invictus Gaming versus FPX. A lot of people, I was hating on FPX, but there's been a lot of doubters, and I think Doomb and Tien shut them down. So this is why I ended up giving the man of the week to Tien. Tien has been having a phenomenal performance. Game 3 was really just based off of how he was able to manhandle Ning early on, push him out top side of the jungle, and it felt like Ning couldn't really have a standing in that series. And then coming up to this point as well, felt like Tien's just been on point working it. It's a tag team performance, so you got to give Doomb his praise. but I'm giving the award to Tien. Congratulations. And we move on to the next week. I'll see you guys there for another episode of Raz's Recaps.